Alright guys, in this one I want to go over what I think is currently one of the best hunter builds you can play in the game right now. Now with the launch of Arc 3.0, obviously hunters did get one of the strongest kits out of all the other Arc subclasses, but it is heavily focused on melee damage, and that is what a lot of people are making builds around. In this one I want to actually take a look at more so its neutral game and how it can be played all around, and it's not just relying on that melee ability. This build is extremely strong and is in-game ready, and I think you guys are going to love it. Alright, so just jump right into it. This build has very strong single target damage and at clear due to pretty much all of its kit. I think the first thing we should go over is the exotic Star Eater skill. So this has the exotic perk Feast of Light. You gain additional super energy from orbs of power you pick up. While your super energy is full, picking up an orb of power overcharges your super, causing it to gain a burst of healing when cast and a bonus to your super damage. At maximum overcharge, you gain an over shield. So that is a lot in this one exotic. Essentially what this is going to do, when you pick up an orb of power, not only are you getting more super energy, you also get a stacking buff that can stack up to ×4. What this does is increase your super damage and gives you healing and an overshield. And if you are at max, it is the best. That's when you're going to get the overshield and the most damage out of your super. Now the super we're going to use on this is the brand new hunter super Gathering Storm. This super is insanely strong. You can throw your arc staff, it sticks into enemies, it jolts targets. It is one of the highest DPS supers in the game. Also, since this is a one and done super, you can throw this and then shoot your weapons to get even more DPS. And with starting scales, it is just ridiculous. So that's the super aspect. It's pretty simple. Pick up orbs and you have a very high damage super that also heals you. If you are in a scenario where you just need to throw it, you can just get an instant burst of healing and an overshield. Now weapons to pair with this is definitely going to be a Volt Shot weapon. Volt Shot is so strong, specifically on the Arc 3.0 Hunter. It's very strong in general, but Arc 3.0 Hunter just literally takes it to the next level with some of its aspects. What this does is when you get a kill and reload the gun, you're actually going to reload a jolt shot in your gun, and when you shoot the enemy, it's going to jolt the target, which will then chain lightning everywhere. And jolt is one of the strongest at clear abilities in the game. The Tarnished Metal Scout Rifle is insanely strong for this, and when you can craft it, definitely go with Volt Shot and Demolitionist, because that is pretty much going to instantly give you a grenade back, which also is going to play a huge part into this build. For other weapons, you can kind of run whatever. I just like to take champion base exotics, and obviously, you know, linear fusions, rockets, anything you want for DPS scenarios. But the main thing is just make sure you have a Volt Shot weapon. Now the reason Volt Shot is extremely good is because of the aspects, and that aspect is flow state. So it says defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. That is so strong. And then also, while you're amplified, your dodge is going to recharge more quickly, you're more resilient when you dodge, so that's good for survivability, and your reload speed is going to be increased. So out of all of those buffs, the main thing is that reload speed increase, and also getting your dodge back, I guess, is pretty nice, but we'll get into why that doesn't really matter in a second. But that reload speed increase is always going to be procced because you're always going to be getting jolt kills with Volt Shot. So you're basically just have an outlaw on your gun without actually having to hit a headshot. It is ridiculously strong, and if you get, again, things like demo, you could just have a very fast gun reloading that's giving you infinite grenades and just literally ad clearing like crazy. This aspect alone is just insane for the Arc 3.0 Hunter. You don't even have to play a melee build focus with this, and you're always going to be amplified because Volt Shot is jolting enemies and killing them. I can't even describe just how strong this is. But we also are going to be running Lethal Current to pair with this. This is heavily based on your melee, so after dodging, your next melee attack is going to increase your lunge range, jolt the targets, and it creates a aftershock. So the aftershock is going to create an explosion. It pretty much can kill anything. It is also extremely good for at clear. And then if you damage a jolted enemy, which you'll be doing all the time with this build, you will blind them. So this is going to play heavily into your melee. I like to run combination blows, so this is going to give you a stacky melee damage bonus when you get melee kills. And when you kill an enemy with the ability, it recharges your class ability. That's why you don't really care about the quicker cooldown with flow state, because you're also going to be running Gambler's Dodge. So when you dodge near an enemy, you get a melee cooldown back. So you could just constantly spam melee and your dodge back and forth non-stop. You're also getting that aftershock, that lunge range. You're jolted enemies. You're going to be able to blind jolt the targets. You're getting that reload speed. There's going to be so much jolt everywhere. And I know a lot of people do pair melee based exotics with combination blow, but honestly, it's good on its own, especially pair it with this build. And now your melee is also going to be a very good thing for single target damage and ad clear, just like your super is. And it also heals you. It also heals you just like your super with Star Eater scales. So literally everything is synergistic with this build. Now it doesn't stop there. I'm also taking Storm Grenade. I like running this because it just does an insane amount of damage. It has a very low cooldown. If you run around Pulse Grenades, you can. I just like Storm Grenade better. And with that fragments, I'm going to take Spark of Shock so my grenades can jolt enemies. So now my melee is going to jolt targets, and grenades also going to jolt targets. My gun is also going to jolt targets. Spark of Ion, so when I defeat a jolted target, it creates an Onyx Trace. You get more grenades now because the Onyx Trace is going to be created everywhere. I'm also going to be running Spark of Magnitude, so my arc grenades, specifically my storm grenade, is going to last longer, does more damage, can jolt more enemies. Then Spark of Amplitude, so while I am amplified, rapidly defeating targets, create orbs of power. You're always going to be amplified, you're going to get more reload speed, you're going to get orbs of power now. You're going to be getting so many benefits just because you're amplified, and it's so easy to get amplified on the hunter with everything contributing into this build. Now really quick as a rundown, again, your volt shot weapon is at clearing like crazy, your melee is at clearing like crazy, your grenade is going to be at clearing like crazy. You're going to have infinite abilities on both of these. Your super is doing an insane amount of damage. You can also act like crazy. This is giving you health back and an overshield if you're at max stacks. You're also getting health back with combination blow. Everything's producing jolt, everything is just destroying any mobs in an area, and you also have a lot of survivability with the build as well. Now for stats, 100 resilience is for sure the way to go. You get that 40% damage reduction, and if you can get 100 discipline, definitely go with that. Right now with my armor, I do have a pretty weak pair of Star Eater scale, so if you can get this to 100, definitely go with that so you can spam even more grenades. You don't have to worry about your mobility or strength with this build, or even super, which we'll get into in a second, because you're always going to have combination blow and your Gambler's Dodge to constantly refresh those over and over again. Now the first mod we need to go over is Elemental Ordnance. So this is going to be when I defeat a combatant with a grenade, it's going to spawn a Elemental Blood type that matches my subclass. So when I defeat enemies with storm grenades, which is not hard to do, I spawn an Arc Elemental Well. The Arc Elemental Well is going to be really nice. It's going to play into a lot of things. But for ease of access, I am going to be taking Seeking Well, so that Elemental Well would just track me. If I throw that nade far away, it would track me, and it's just a whole lot easier to manage, and that's why I really like this mod. Now, I will also be running Bountiful Well, so this is going to create another Arc Elemental Well. So instead of creating one, I will create two. That will have two wells attract me to give me more energy back for my grenade, and on top of that, your Onyx Traces also are going to be giving you grenade energy back. And with those mods combined with 100 discipline and eventually a demo tarnished metal, you're going to have infinite grenades alongside infinite melee and dodge. Now to take advantage of arc elemental wells, I'm also running Phantom Might, so this is going to give me a damage bonus to all my arc weapons. This is essentially just going to give tarnished metal more damage. So now not only is your volt shot at clearing everything, it's also just very good for single target damage, and the demo is giving you all your grenades back. Then I'm also going to be running Font of Wisdom, so whenever I pick up a Arc Elemental Well, it's essentially going to give me 100 intellect, so this is going to be really good for getting your soup back as much as possible, and pairing that with Star Eater scales, it is just ridiculous. Now the mods don't end there. We're also going to be running Harmonic Siphon, so whenever I get rapid weapon final blows with a weapon that matches my subclass type, aka my tarnished metal, I will spawn an Orb of Power. Those orbs of power are obviously insanely good for Star Eater scales because this is going to buff them up. You're going to get more super energy, and again, pairing that with Font of Wisdom with your Arc Elemental Well you create with your grenade, you get your supers back really fast. You can also take this into any in-game content, so running any champion mod will also be very viable. And I like to run Thermoshock Plating with Avoid Resistance just so I can get as much damage reduction as possible based on all the elements. And I also like to run Recuperation since I'm spawning orbs from my tarnished metal and my subclass fragment itself. I'm going to be getting health back. This helps out a lot with the survivability of this build, and it's very nice to have. Then for the final mods, I am also running Trace Evidence, so when I feed a combatant with arc debuffs, I will spawn Onyx Traces. This just adds to the ability to spawn more Onyx Traces. These do actually stack with all your other abilities that spawn Onyx Traces. You'll essentially just get more, and you pretty much get one every single time you kill an enemy with an arc debuff. It's very nice, so you can get even more grenades back. I did have 1 point left over, so I just do amped up in so I can just stay amplified a little bit longer. Instead of 15, you get 20 seconds. It's really nice because you want to be amplified with this build at all times, because that is what makes it insanely strong. Just getting amplified with this build one time does so much for you, and literally just every single aspect of this build just synergizes so well together. But that is the build. I honestly do think this is one of the best hunter builds in the game right now. Not only you're getting insane super damage and at clear, you also have your at clear with your grenade, your melee, and your melee is also good at single target damage. Your perks are synergizing extremely well with everything. You have infinite abilities literally everywhere. It is one of the highest damage supers in the game, so you can crank out the most DPS. Running arc weapons is going to pair really well with Phantom Might if you want to run something like Storm Chaser for DPS, or even the new linear fusion. Everything is just so well. It's so easy to play, and all it takes is just getting to amplify it one time, and that is just extremely easy to do on the hunter. But I really hope you all enjoyed the build. If you guys like to try it out, I will have a dim link to this build linked in the description below. And also, if you enjoyed the video and want to see more content just like it, consider subscribing, drop a like, and turn those notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join the Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all of that will be linked in the description as well. But just know watching this video is way more than enough. Every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated, but thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.